is basically do in this cognitive domain, and the cognitive domain focus on the development of intellectual skills and knowledge acquisition encompassing process like thinking, problem solving and applying knowledge. So in there, according to my opinion, cognitive domain helps learners to develop their intellectual abilities, understanding of the world by them in various cognitive processes. And the next one is affective domain, which means it's based on the emotional. So it means receiving phenomenon, response of phenomenon, valuing, organization and internalized values. And the affective domain in educational focus on how people feel, value and react to things in emotion. It expresses attitude, emotions, value and appreciation. So according to my opinion, the affective domain is about shaping students' emotional intelligence and helping them to develop positive attitudes, values and a sense of responsibility toward learning and life in general. And the last one is psychomotor domain, which means the action-based skill. Psychomotor domain is the educational focuses on physical movement, coordination, and the use of motor skills. So in there, perception is start from perception, set, guided response, mechanism, complex over response, adaptation, organization is the high one. So these are the Bloom taxonomy main domain, cognitive domain, affective domain and psychomotor domain. So in there, the last learning outcome of this second lesson is the teaching goals performance assessment. So in there, performance assessment in teaching aims to evaluate how well students can apply their knowledge and skills react to the word context rather than just recalling a fact. So in there, evaluating application of knowledge, assessing authentic tasks and informing instruction adjustment, promoting deeper learning and also providing the feedback is also involved in this teaching goals and performance assessment. So in this lesson, we can go through how to deal with the students' ability, how to deal with students' ability, knowledge-based, emotion-based, and action-based. In next lesson, measurement subject-based learning outcome. This is like a small unit. So in there, I go through the steps in test construction. So there are planning the test. You can divide into planning the test, preparing the test, try out the test, and evaluation the test. So as briefly explained, constructive test refers to the systematic process of developing and evaluation and assessing tool to measure specific knowledge, skills, or ability. So this involves defining test purpose, selecting appropriate item type, crafting clear and unambiguous questions, and ensure that the test is valid or relevant. So this is the main idea of the third lesson. And fourth lesson is constructing and implement intelligence in test learning. It is very hard for me. spell that. Sorry, yeah, I stopped that lesson with this. And the next one, constructing and implementing aptitude and personality tests. In there, you can see the learning outcomes I go through psychological tests, types of attribute, concept of personality. So in there we have to identify the aptitude and personality test, and there is a types of attitude, the acquisitive attitude, play attitude, and scientific attitude. To measure that, you have to do a personality test. So this is the brief introduction about the fifth lesson, which I have to go through the more because I read it around the 2 times, but still I struggled to understand. Sorry for that. And now the sixth lesson is the concept of school-based assessment. So in there, the learning objective is concept of SBA, which means school-based assessment, and types of SBA is there. SBA assessment in Sri Lanka, evaluation of the SBA. So school-based assessment. School-based assessment, or as SBA, is a method of evaluating students' learning that is integrating into teaching and learning process rather than being a separate or end of the term activity. It involves teachers consequently assessing students using various methods like test, observation, and project, and providing ongoing feedback to improve the learning. So in there are types of SBA. So the types of is formative assessment and summative assessment. Summative assessment. So formative and summative assessment. Rather than that, I found there is another test called performance assessment and authentic assessment. So in there, formative assessment is these types of assessment is used to monitor students' learning, doing instruction to provide feedback and adjust learning strategies. And on the other hand, summative assessment is the assessment type is used to evaluate students' learning at the end of a unit or course, which means at the end of this semester we are going to evaluate, that is the summative assessment, and we are summative assessment, and now we are doing mind map, which is this continuous learning, so it's a formative assessment. So in the performance assessment, the types of assessments that focus on evaluate students' ability to apply their knowledge and skills in a real world situation. So that is the type of SBA. And SBA assessment of a Sri Lanka. So in the Sri Lankan context, SBA is a component of education system, particularly with the junior level, like grade 6 to 9. It's aimed to enhance students' learning and comprehension